Hey, what's up, agents? It's Mr. Miah here. Today I'm going over the new updated Hive builds. I got two different versions. One is a max DPS and one is a group semi-support build. They're both based on the 4-piece hardwire. In fact, it's just the chest and the gloves that get switched, which I'll cover. So let's quickly get into this. This should be fairly easy to gear up for. This is just something thrown together. There's not a lot of work to get this going. So the mainstay of both versions of this build will be the Stinger Hive. The key is to get to tier 6 of the skills. And the easiest way to do that is to run the Technician, so that way you only have to run 5 as it gives you the extra. You'll notice at the current state that I have it, I'm running at tier 6. We get plus 6 Stinger charges, plus 60% damage, plus 30% range, and 420% health. It takes 4 seconds to refill the charges, or it holds 14 charges. Range of 11 at skill tier 6. We have a 51.8 second duration, just over 4 million health. The initial damage is just over 900,000, and our bleed tends to tick. I've seen it tick upwards of 40,000, just depending on what buffs are applied at the time. And of course, the biggest advantage and why we're running the Hive is it applies bleed status effect to the enemies. And so that not only damages them over the time, it has the initial damage it does, but it also staggers them for about a second to a second and a half, which is prime time to run past them, to attack them, to throw a med kit. So just the stagger in itself can be great for crowd control. We will be running the Technician. And the main reason we're doing it is simply for the +1 skill tier. That way we only have to run 5 utility instead of 6. Anything else bonus here? The Faraday Field is of course beneficial. 15% bonus armor when aiming a skill is good. So mainly Faraday Field and the amped. So first off, let me go over the 4 pieces of basic equipment, the skills, and then we'll go over the 2 things that change between the 2. So we're using 4-piece hardwire, the mask, holster, backpack, and knees. The mask, we're simply running skill damage as much as possible. So we are using the backpack because it comes with the talent Short Circuit, decreases the feedback loop cooldown from 20 seconds to 10 seconds. And I guess we should quickly go over what the 4-piece is. 2-piece gives 15% bonus skill haste, not too important with this build. 3-piece is 15% skill damage and repair skills, which is great for both damage skill builds and for healing builds. And the big one is the feedback loop. Whenever you use or cancel a skill, your other skill is automatically refreshed and increases total skill damage and repair by 20% by 10% for 20 seconds. And it can occur every 20 seconds, but because of our backpack, it can actually occur every 10 seconds. So both of these builds, we're using a Stinger Hive at tier 6. And the mods I'm using is just a damage, a duration, and a radius. We'll use damage on that if they gave me one. The duration doesn't really matter. And our Seeker Mines are tier 6. We're using a damage mod, and 1 extra cluster mine. I don't know if there's a possibility of 2 extra cluster mines. That would be awesome. So this gives us a grand total of 10 mines doing over 2 million each. Alright, so now down to the difference between the 2. The first one uses the BTSU gloves. I still do not have my level 40, so I'm still using my level 30s. So the haste, skill haste, and the skill repair will be better once I get those. The new BTSU gloves, detonating a hive refreshes all allies' skill cooldowns and grants them overcharge for 15 seconds. and they are not able to benefit again for another 120 seconds. Now, you can use this for offense, but I found one of the best things to use this for is in a group setting. If I notice that one of my guys, or maybe two or even three of them, are running the Reviver Hive and they use them and they don't have them on cooldown, I'll blow my Hive just to get overcharged to automatically give all of my teammates their skills back immediately, which gives them full Hive just like that. So you can also use it offensively, of course, for a little bit of bonus damage. But like I said, I like it defensively to help save the team. And then the main damage bonus that I get is from the Sacrifice. So this is the name Providence piece. I rolled skill damage onto it, and we're using it for the Perfect Glass Cannon. All damage you deal is amplified by 30%. All damage you take is amplified by 60%. The one disadvantage is grenades and fire can take me down really quick. I'm hoping to get another version of this chest piece. Hopefully one that I'm able to, that either comes with armor on it already or has good enough rolls that I could add some armor to it. But yeah, the Sacrifice is a great chest piece. I recommend checking it out. And lastly, for this build, we'll go over the weapons. I'm using ACRE, basically because it's almost maxed out. And I rolled Sadist onto this. This deals 20% bonus weapon damage to bleeding enemies, and since I am bleeding them all the time with my Hive, I do bonus damage to those guys. And we're using the Send-Off Shotgun. This is a cool shotgun as it does come with two perfect talents, perfect distance for the 100% optimal range, and perfectly rooted to do 30% bonus skill damage or healing for 15 seconds once every 60. For this build, I will be running the Maxim 9, the Technician Specialized Sidearm. For the perfect spike, headshots grant 25% skill damage for 8 seconds. If I'm walking up and I got an enemy right in front of me, I can pull this out just to get an extra bonus damage for a little bit. I actually dig that. I'm trying to make that part of the playstyle too. So other than that, that's pretty much it for the straight up offensive build. The other version of this, instead of using the BTSU gloves, we're using the Tardigrade armor system. This guy is all around armor, as you can see. And it's got the ablative nanoplating. Whenever your or any ally's armor breaks, they gain 80% of your armor as bonus armor for 10 seconds. And there's a 45-second cooldown for each. And then since we can't use the BTSU gloves, I'm going ahead and I'm currently using these plated Hana U Corporation gloves for the skill haste. You could use whatever you have here, whatever's the best gloves you got. You know, feel free to use them. You know, Motherly Love doesn't really. I could use that if I wanted to have more skill health. You know, you can do whatever you want to do there. You could even, if you wanted to, you could even use Hardwire gloves here and switch out one of these other 3 pieces. So, and last, we'll go over the weapons for this. So since this is more of a team build and I'm trying to help the team, instead of running Sadist for the extra damage for me shooting the targets, I run Perpetuation. Just simply getting a headshot, and I'm using the FAMAS with the super high RPM. So it's really easy to just send out a burst of bullets. One of them hits, and then the next skill gets 50% status effect damage and duration. So that means they bleed 50% longer. I don't really care about the extra damage. I mean, that's cool. But that means any of my teammates that either have Wicked, or if they have Sadist, or if they have both, they will do bonus damage to any enemy bleeding, and that enemy will bleed for 50% longer. So I really use this to try to get any bosses, named enemies, or tanks bleeding as quickly as possible so the team can take them down super fast. Now, that being said, so I don't do any bonus damage with this gun doing that. I use it to get the headshot damage. Well, so what do I do then to get bonus damage? I switch over, once they're bleeding, I switch over to the Grudge with the Perfect Vindictive and start blasting into. I got a great roll on it, and the Perfect Perfect Vindictive, if I happen to get the kill, this gives the 18% crit hit chance, crit hit damage to all my allies, and this is 20 meters instead of 15. So this is another way I help to support the team. And lastly, for my offhand, I'm using the double barrel. I'm using this because it has max armor damage and because it has Vindictive. Killing an enemy with a status effect grants all my allies and myself 15% crit hit chance and damage. So what I can do is, I'm going through the normal gameplay, and particularly the yellow bars, I see that they're about to go down. I'll quickly swap to this guy, and since most of the time they end up bleeding when I'm out there attacking them, I fire this, finish them off, and then that procs all the rest of my teammates to have that 15% bonus crit hit chance, crit hit damage for 20 seconds. So that's pretty big. I'm trying to get used to using that in the build and making it common practice. So that's basically it. These are the two builds I'm running right now. It doesn't take a whole lot. You don't even have to have any of that extra skill damage stuff on there. It just helps. This is just adding to the equation. But this is a build without much effort. You should be able to throw together fairly quickly. A couple things to look for that your teammates can do in order to do more damage since you are running a bleed. The first one, and probably the biggest damage buff to them specifically, is Sadist. Deal plus 20% damage to bleeding enemies. And since my main objective is to get the big yellow bars bleeding, whatever the most powerful enemies are, that means we'll be able to take them down faster. The idea is to take down the biggest threat as quickly as possible. Another option that the teammates can run, one of the teammates, all the teammates, whatever, would be to run Vindictive, or if you have the Grudge Perfect Vindictive, killing an enemy with a status effect grants you and all allies within 20 meters 18% crit hit chance and crit hit damage for 20 seconds. So this is the perfect version, is 20 meters, 18%, 20 seconds. As you can see, the standard version of Vindictive is not quite as good. It's 15 meters and 15%. Trauma applies blind to an enemy hit in the head with a cooldown of 30 seconds and applies bleed to an enemy hit in the chest with a cooldown of 30 seconds. These are both on their own individual cooldowns. With the backpack, we get a little more interesting. We have 3 perks that are directly related to status effects. First one is Shock and Awe. This would be more for a hybrid sort of skill and DPS build. Applying a status effect to an enemy increases total skill damage and repair by 20% for 20 seconds. The next status effect perk that is on backpacks is Creeping Death. When you apply a status effect, it also is applied to all enemies within 5 meters of your target with a 20-second cooldown. Lastly, and probably the most beneficial, would be Wicked. Applying a status effect increases total weapon damage by 18% for 20 seconds. And this is more of a DPS sort of build. This can work great in conjunction with a weapon that can cause status effects. Thanks for watching, agents, and I will check you guys in the Dark Zone. We got an elite patrol, so just real quick. So we toss our seekers out, right? We drop the first hive. That gives us the seekers back immediately. We toss the next set of seekers. Pick up the hive. Drop back. Drop this. And now we go ham on them. Now I'm going to blow it up before he kicks it. Overcharge. Get the mines on him. There's another one of these. See ya. Blow up this tank, blow this tank, blow this tank. Come on. Trying to blow up this fucking tank. Oh, there it goes. Sweet. You're going down, dude.